So the last few weeks have been hard, with life, and I've just been kind of contemplating if everything's gonna work. The whole dog training, content, social media, educating myself. I just wasn't sure if everything was gonna work out. And a lot of things are happening in my life personally too that made things hard and made me kind of need to take a pause and step back and think about what I'm really gonna be doing in life. And sometimes I think that's really important. So, I'll kind of get into what happened. A lot of you that follow me on TikTok, normally, I'm going live every day and I'm training the dogs Monday through Friday. Sorry, I'm outside and it's a little windy, so hopefully the audio is okay. I'll try to edit it after. So normally, I was going live, everything was going pretty smooth. But in my last apartment, as you guys know, I was planning on moving into a house with my dad and my brother, and we were going to get a pretty large house, and some of it was going to be dedicated for dog training. So it was going to be nice to have a facility. I was going to kind of build a big course in the backyard, a kind of obstacle course slash agility course. But it just didn't really work out. Stuff with my father was just kind of rough. And I just didn't really want to make the decision to live with him again. So now I was kind of upset for that about a week, and I didn't really know what to do. I was really looking forward to having a garage and a whole course set up and changing the place for my lives, and had this whole vision set up, right? And in life, you always kind of have a vision, and you always think, okay, once this happens, it's going to be good. And so it was upsetting, right? For that whole week, I'm kind of thinking, great, now I'm not going to get the house, and now all this stuff isn't going to happen. When in reality, that's really not true. I can still make these things happen, right? I can still go live out here. So you guys are probably noticing a different background as well. I did move to a different apartment for a few reasons. Couple reasons. This one's on the first floor and it has two doors, so it's a lot easier to get the dogs in and out, a lot more mobile. I kind of let the dogs out here to hang out and whatnot. We can hang out on the porch, so that's nice. And then also we had a neighbor who just kept calling and complaining and saying our dogs were barking. And honestly, guys, I know the dogs do bark a little bit because I have a Doberman and a Rottweiler, but I've said this before. They bark for a little bit when people come by or they smell people, and then they stop, right? It's just kind of part of their breed. And then when I'm home, I just tell them enough to stop. But when I'm not home, obviously they keep barking for a little bit. However, this guy would sometimes, he called the apartments one day after I was home until maybe 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And then we left to go to Target. And on our way to Target, we're probably like pulling up to the parking lot. We're almost there, maybe 10 minutes away. We get a call from the office and they go, hey, your neighbor just called and said the dog's been barking all day, just nonstop. And we're like, what? Like, the dog hasn't barked at all today, and then we just left. So maybe the dog's been barking since we left, but I'm pretty sure this guy's lying. And then so it kind of escalated from there, and he started calling animal control, and animal control wasn't getting any evidence though, so they were just calling me saying, hey, we're getting complaints, but it was just leading to nowhere because there was actually no evidence being supplied. So it was just really stressful. So we wanted to get away from that neighbor, so we moved to a different unit, and it's actually a lot less stressful, a lot better setup for the dogs. It wasn't too much of a financial burden, thankfully, so we were able to make that happen. And leading on to the point before is I didn't get the house, right, and we didn't move into a house. Even if I stayed in that apartment, I still would have made something happen, okay? I thought about maybe I just stop and I put everything on hold and I go and I get a sales job again, because that's what I was doing before, was sales. But honestly, I did not want to do that, guys. I wanted to just believe in myself, and that's kind of what's got me this far. And I'm really dedicated to what I do. I take this very serious. I educate myself a lot. I try to go to some of the best trainers in the country, or if not in the world, and try to not seek advice directly from them, but follow advice from them. I put a lot of effort into just educating myself and with my own dogs. So that's not all going to go for nothing, right? So I was like, you know what, let's not do that. If anything, maybe I'll get a part-time to just kind of help out crawl out of some debt, because that's what's going on, and that's life, guys. So no matter what's going on with your life, try to just persevere. That's kind of the goal, with everything. Whether you're just getting out of school, you're just getting out of college, you've been stuck at a job for years and you don't know what to do, or you're in the same position as me with social media. It's a whole other subject. There's been a lot of factors going on with my life. I had another friend try to kill himself, so that was a whole thing. There's stuff going on with my dad. There is moving. Leela, I want to give you guys an update on Leela. So Leela's my Rottweiler. She's the youngest one, for those of you that don't know. We thought she had kidney disease. I had her at one vet. I brought her to another vet for a sonography and for just additional a second opinion on her test, her urine test and blood test. So we got that done, and based off her sonography, everything actually looks really healthy. No signs of kidney disease. So they said we're just going to retest in a few months, see what's going on. Really, guys, it's a whole thing. I think she just has an obsession with water. And then she was dehydrated, which I think the dehydration is what caused her to urinate. And the reason she was dehydrated, guys, is because she was getting into the sink and she was drinking a lot of water, and uncontrollably. And then she'd drink a lot of water, I'd get her to stop, and then I was giving her less water because I wasn't sure how much she was getting. But now I've just been giving her a lot of water, and it's actually helped the problem. So that's a good update on Leela. Very happy for that. Things are going good with her. That was also happening the same week, though, that I decided not to move with my dad, as we thought Leela was having a problem. So a lot of things were just kind of mentally hard. And Leela was a dog that I got because I fell in love with dog training and I wanted to raise a puppy from scratch. And so it was really heartbreaking that something was going to happen to her, but I'm glad it's not. And so I figured, it's not now. I need to lean into it like I did before. The whole reason I got into dog training was to lean into something bad that happened. My dog got hit by a car in front of me because he wasn't trained. And so I said, you know what? I quit my sales job. I went and got a mentor and I learned dog training. And this is the career that I want to persevere, because sales was fun, but it wasn't something I was genuinely passionate about. And dog training is something I'm really passionate about. So I'm going to stick with it, even with the hard things that happen. I'm going to keep going. I've been posting again. Guys, the world works in crazy ways. I wasn't posting, and sure enough, somebody actually messaged me, and he's a graphic designer in college looking to kind of expand his portfolio. So we were able to work out a good deal, and we've been working together for a few days, and so I'm going to send him, we're kind of doing a weekly deal now, so more content will be going up on all of the socials, at least for short form, and then for TikTok for short form, and then for YouTube, this is going to be the way we're going to be moving forward. Is kind of just talking to the camera like this, talking to you guys, drop in the comments what you want to talk about, questions, thoughts, concerns, you know the deal, some HR. But yeah, I'm probably going to get one arm really sunburnt just sitting here. That's kind of the story, guys. Sorry, it's one of the first times doing this, so it's a little awkward, but it was tough. I wanted to quit with everything. I think life always happens in threes, it's always a group of things that happen at once, or even if it's not three, it's always a group, it's always 1 week where it's just hard, a bunch of things happens, bam, bam, bam. And usually that's when people will kind of fall into a rut, and it's easy to fall into a rut and not make your way back out of there and not get back to where you were before. And so something I mentioned before was just small wins, guys. If you're in that position, try to take just small wins every day. Do something that you feel is bettering yourself, whether it's for your personal health, it's growing a business, doing better at work, doing better for your kids, better for your dogs, whatever it may be. So yeah, it'll kind of be a combination, guys, moving forward, of kind of just personal thoughts going on with my life, because I want people to get to know me and just me as a person and who I am and my morals and just what I believe in. Just so you guys know who's training your dog, and I think that's important. And then it'll also be a mixture of, dog rants as well. So it'll be a combination. I appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, share. Have a good day. Yo, guys, I just didn't mention that my name on TikTok and Instagram is Tyler the Canine Trainer, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys can follow me there and check out my content. I got a lot more short form training videos there. Have a good day.